Happy Wednesday, pre-calculus. So for today, we're going to be reviewing triangles. So you're definitely going to need a calculator or something that has the trig functions on it, so sine, cosine, and tangent. If you are using your graphing calculator, make sure you go to mode, make sure you're in degree mode because we are dealing with angles here. A good place to find another resource, you can like Google trig calculator or you can go to Mathway and there are trig functions on there as well. Please email me if you have questions if you don't have your graphing calculator. Okay, so let's start with part one. So up here at the top, we have an overview of everything we're going to be going over with right triangles, but we're going to first start with part one, looking at the Pythagorean theorem. So remember that Pythagorean theorem is sort of like just the starting point for all right triangles. So it's always with right triangles. And specifically when you're given two sides and you're looking for a side. So this is that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but it's only sides. So we're not really given angles here. The only angle we're given is going to be this 90-degree angle in these triangles because it's a right triangle. Now we don't really care about the other angles for these because we're just looking for sides. So we're going to look at the even problems together, and then I'm going to have you go back and try the odd ones on your own, and you can check your answers at the end of the worksheet. Okay, so number two, find the length of each side. All right, well, let's see. So we've got three sides that we're sort of given information on. So that's the key to know, okay, Pythagorean theorem. So it's going to be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, the only one that matters is the hypotenuse has to be c, right? So we'll just call this a and we'll call this b. So that's going to be x squared plus x minus 7 squared equals x plus 1 squared. Now, if you're in a hurry, you're going to make the most annoying mistake ever, and you're going to forget to FOIL this out, right? You're going to forget just to distribute that. So make sure you remember this should become a trinomial. So x squared plus, that's going to become x squared minus 14x plus 49. And I'm going to go ahead and simplify this side. So that's the left side of the equation. So that's going to be 2x squared minus 14x plus 49, which is going to equal this side over here. Same thing, I'm going to distribute that out and I'm going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1 on this side, okay? Now, I know this is a quadratic because I see I have x squared, right? So that means I need to get it equal to 0. So I'm going to move the right side over here to the left, minus x squared minus 2x and minus 1 from the 49. So that's going to give me x squared minus 16x plus 48 equals 0. Now I'm going to try to solve for x because that's one of my sides here. So I know to solve quadratics, I'm going to factor it down. So what multiplies to give me 48? Well, lots of things, but I noticed that 12 and 4 will also add to give me 16. So negative 12 and negative 4. So if my factors are x minus 12 and x minus 4, my solutions must be x equals 12 and x equals 4. Okay, but we know that when I'm looking at a triangle, x is just one of these sides, right? So only one of these can be correct. Well, let's try 4. So if x is 4, this would be 5, but 4 minus 7 is going to be a negative number, right? Can I have a negative distance there? No, I cannot. So it must be 12. So if this side is 12, then that means this side is going to be 13. 12 minus 7, 5. So that means I have a 5, 12, 13, which is a special right triangle. So that would be correct, 12, 13, and 5. Okay, let's look at a similar example, but setting it to a word problem. So number 4, how far from the base of a house do you need to place a 15-foot ladder? Well, think about a ladder. We always use it at a slant, right? So I know that a house goes up and down, right? So a 15-foot ladder is going to be leaning against that house and the ground. And so that it reaches a 12-foot wall. So the top of the wall, that's going to be the height. How far? This is what I'm looking for here, right? So now I've got two sides. I'm looking for a third. So I can use the Pythagorean theorem. 12 squared plus x squared equals 15 squared. And then you can go on to solve this. You can check the answer key for that one. Just make sure you're setting these up correctly based on that word problem. Okay, and then you'll just keep solving for x, and that will be your answer there. All right, one other one we're going to look at is an SAT example. So each of these topics, you're going to have at least one SAT problem to practice. So it's just a good review for you guys to get those, just to brush up on those skills. So number 5, the rectangle below has a diagonal of length 20, which is already labeled. If the base of the rectangle is twice as long as the height, what is the height? Okay, well, I definitely, if I make this x and this y, or this b and this h, I can't solve it because I have 2 unknowns, right? So I know I want to make these the same variables. So let's just go with the height. Okay, so if this is my height, we know this is twice as long, so twice means double, right? So 2 times. So this is h, and this is 2h, is going to equal the radius. So I want to know what is the height. So this is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to say, okay, a squared, h squared plus b squared, 2h squared equals c squared, 20 squared. All right, so that's going to be h squared plus. And this is where you need to watch out because I'm squaring everything here. So it's actually 4h squared. If you didn't have your parentheses there, you might get confused. So double check if you got tripped up there. Let's go ahead and just multiply this out. 20 squared is 400. All right, now I'm going to combine my like terms, and I get 5h squared equals 400. I'm going to divide by 5, and I get h squared equals 80. And then I'm going to do the square root of 80. Now that is not a perfect square, so I'm going to need to break this down. Whichever way you're most comfortable. If you find your perfect squares, that's great. We could do 8 and 10. And break this down into prime, 2 and 4, 2 and 2, 2 and 5. So these are all my prime numbers. And I'm going to make my groups. 1, 2, 2 2s. So I have 2 2s that come out. So that's 4 root 5 would be the height of this rectangle. All right, so go ahead and try 3 and 4. Go ahead and finalize those up, and then check your answers on the last page of your notes. When you're done with that, you can move on to part 2.